Guys, I am back and today I am going to be doing something very fun that I haven't done in a while. I recently purchased the new Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. So I am going to be doing a first impressions and all day wear test, and then I think I'm going to come back after a couple days of wearing this with my final thoughts on this foundation. I saw Hannah Louise post and review it, and I think Tati Westbrook also talked about it. I've never tried a Nars foundation before. They've always been just like a little bit too pricey, but I was out of my other foundations. I only have one little itty-bitty sample left. And so I wanted to get something, and I thought I would try something new since the MAC Face and Body, I really liked it, but the packaging was meh, in my opinion. I wanted to try something that maybe had a little bit more coverage, and I wanted to find a shade that was good for me. So I did some swatching in Ulta. I did just apply some sunscreen about 8 minutes ago, so my face does feel a little bit paler than it normally is. So hopefully this is a good match for my neck and chest, or like shoulders. I did also get a little bit of sun yesterday, so that's why I'm having some more pink than usual. And other than that, I think this will be a good shade match, and I'm very excited to see how this goes. So the claims of this foundation are that it improves radiance by 61%, it has a more even skin tone by 93%, sales pitch is see your skin in its best light, light reflecting foundation instantly diffuses light to blur imperfections and smooth the look of skin. Powered by skincare ingredients, this product strengthens skin's barrier to maintain moisture day by day. This formula visibly improves skin's clarity even after makeup is removed. Medium buildable coverage, natural finish, breathable, all-day wear. So I'm going to test it. I have the shade Medium 2 Santa Fe. This was one of their neutral shades, and I am going to try this on, and I think I'm gonna work out, and I come back after my workout to see how it held up. I think that that's always a good test. Not that I always work out in foundation, but I think that I get very sweaty, so we'll see if the foundation just kind of like lets the sweat come through it, or if it all just melts off, because that's a big question mark. So without further ado, let's hop in and apply this to my face. Okay, so first thoughts, it's that it's very liquidy. So I'm curious how it's gonna spread across the face. I might see how it works with a beauty sponge and then maybe reach for my Real Techniques foundation brush, something really dense. But then sometimes liquidy things work really well with like a stippling brush, like this one from R&L Moda. So I don't know, we'll see. First I am going to go in with a little bit of mattifying Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Blurring Primer. This stuff hopefully will not react poorly with my sunscreen because it's been sitting on my face for like 10 minutes. So we shall see. I'm gonna take a teeny tiny bit more along my forehead just because it's been so hot the past few days, and I feel like, you know, mattifying, it's intended to help with oil, but sometimes it helps with sweat. Okay, there we go. So if the foundation, if I'm not loving how it applies today, I'll try it with a different primer tomorrow, because I know that like primers can affect the way that the foundations go on, but that's the one that I'm using right now, so I figured I would just try it with this one first off. And I wasn't really in the mood to do the like half and half, because I did a test of that last summer and it didn't really affect how my makeup applied or wore. Okay, so I had a pump already on the back of my hand. One thing to note is I feel like this looks darker than what I just pumped out. So this, I think, will oxidize a little bit. Oh, that's very thin. Okay. I'm gonna apply it to half of my face and let it sit for a second, and then we'll apply the other half to see if it does oxidize a little bit. I mean, that does look very pretty. It's super thin, which I like. This is definitely not like thick and very full coverage. It's not even thick like a BB cream. It's just like those Ilia serum drops. I think this is a comparable texture comparison. So there we go. I've got it around this half of my face, and I'm just gonna let it sit for a second. Okay, so where I'm applying it over here and how it looks over here kind of looks the same. Okay, so if it does oxidize, it's not noticeable enough to where the two different sides of my face look different from each other. So that's nice. I also wanted to take a moment to appreciate a brand new RMS Uncover Up concealer. I had this concealer back in 2020, I think, and I really loved it. And so I wanted to try it again because I really liked my Ilia concealer, but there was something very nice about the pot. It was very, I think, like easy to use, and so I wanted to try it again to see if I still liked it. So I'll probably be giving an update about this product at the end too. I really only feel like I need to go in with a little bit more concealer, like right here on the apples of my cheeks. But my nose looks really good. My chin looks really good. So it's really just this area. I mean, just a little bit, why not? Okay. So everything's looking good. I am going to go in with my sponge and a little bit of powder because I feel like that's the best way to apply powder over the summer. I don't know why, but that's just kind of my preference. So I'm going to go in with just a little bit of powder, and I'm just going to press it into the cap just to get like the excess off. And then, so clearly this side has a sheen that gets taken down when I apply the powder, as all foundations do. But you can still see a little bit of that sheen on the rest of my face. I just want to powder down the places in my face that get slippy or gather with product or very sweaty. Okay. So the foundation is looking nice. I am going to go quickly finish up the rest of my face, and I will be back with my thoughts on how the complexion products applied and how it's looking. Okay, so initial first impressions, I did end up using like 4 pumps. The pumps are very small, but 4 pumps of foundation to cover my face. So that's kind of interesting. I usually use like a pump of foundation, but my beauty sponge is getting pretty old, so maybe it's absorbing more product, and if I used a different sponge or if I used a brush, that wouldn't be the case. So I'm going to try it out a couple different ways. The matte black packaging definitely gets a little bit dirty, and that's something that kind of bothers me, that I know doesn't bother a lot of other people. So that's kind of a choose your own, like decide for yourself if that's an issue or not. I could definitely see this lid getting like fingerprinty because if I'm doing my makeup and then I close it or open it, and I have a little residue on my fingers, I could see it getting kind of gross, but it does seem to like wipe away pretty well. It looks really pretty. I do think that this shade is like maybe was the right shade for me like 2 weeks ago or whenever I bought it, and now it might be a little bit light for me, but I still think it's really pretty. The bronzer and blush layered over it nicely. I'm still getting, I think, like a little bit of a sheen on my forehead, and it looks really skin-like, so that's nice. I'm curious to see how it'll wear around this area, especially when I start sweating. So that is kind of my first initial impressions of this foundation, and I'll be back with more thoughts. Okay, so I worked out about 30 minutes ago. I had a little bit of lunch, and now I wanted to check in on how the foundation is wearing. So we're gonna get up close. Obviously, there are glasses marks. That's something that will happen with any foundation at any time. I did have some sweat poking through along my forehead and my chin and like my cheeks and nose, so I could see that the sweat was like going through the makeup and kind of beading on the skin. But now that I have had time to sit with it, it is looking good. I have maybe some slight creasing on my forehead, and a little bit of gathering right here, but that's normal. I don't have like unreasonable creasing around my nose, in my marionette lines, anything like that. So this is normal. I've never had an experience. I've never found a foundation or concealer where it doesn't do this. I don't expect that. And yeah, I would say just this kind of is tapping out fine, and I don't notice any. They're like probably something that I'm only noticing because I'm getting so up and close to the camera right now. So it's looking nice. I think all the makeup is looking nice, except my brows were being a struggle today, but other than that, I'm going to finish out my day, and I will be back. I'm going to dinner with a friend later, so that should be fun. Also, I would like to clarify, it was not a crazy workout. It was like an upper body workout, and then I walked on the treadmill and read my book for like 20 minutes. So nothing crazy, but it was kind of hot in the gym. It is hot today, so I did get a little sweaty, and this held up nicely. I think if you were going to be like out and about on like a summer day, like go to a picnic or something like that, you wouldn't have unreasonable issues with this foundation, if that makes sense. So anyways, I'm going to go about the rest of my day, and I will be back in a little bit to get you caught up on how it's looking. Hey there, so I just wanted to check in and show you what everything is looking like now that it is the end of the day. So I've been wearing this makeup for about 13 hours. And so I went to dinner with a friend. The lines on my forehead aren't bad. I do feel like I'm looking a little bit shiny, especially my forehead and in this area. My nose started running at dinner because I put too much chili oil on my food. and my nose started running, so you can see where the foundation got rubbed off, but the rest of my nose looks pretty good. I mean, I think my nose kind of always looks a little rough at the end of the day. And a little bit on the chin is worn off. And it's a little bit gathered in that crease, but not bad, honestly. I've had far worse. So yeah, that's kind of how everything is looking. I definitely feel a little bit oily, but it's pretty on par with most other foundations I've tried, especially since this isn't necessarily like a mattifying foundation. So I think this is looking good for where we're at. I am going to wear it again tomorrow and Friday. Maybe I'll check in, I'm not sure, and then I'll come back on Friday or Saturday with my final thoughts. Today, we're gonna see it with a brush. So I'm just gonna take, let's try to do less. Like, I'll just do 3 pumps for like my whole face rather than like whatever I did yesterday. Not that I didn't like how it looked yesterday, but even though they're small pumps, there's like a very frugal part of me that is like, that is too many pumps of foundation, you're gonna go through it too quickly. Even though, like, realistically, it was like the same amount of foundation that I use with big pumps of another foundation. So let's go in. Okay, so I think it blended out pretty well. I feel like because I kind of grew up using a sponge, I came of makeup applying age in the beauty blender era. Brushes feel a little bit more foreign, but I feel like I got like a good even layer across my whole face. And it looks nice, same glow, same kind of sheer application as yesterday. So yeah, it looks good, and I'm going to show you what the makeup looks like when I've got everything on. Okay, so here is the finished look. I feel like the foundation looks the same when I applied it with a brush versus a sponge. I didn't use a mattifying powder today, or sorry, mattifying primer, but the face kind of looks the same once you powder anyways. But I did use like a pump less of foundation, so that seems to be the only difference between brush versus sponge. So yeah, I'll be back with my final thoughts. Thank you for staying with me up until this point. I know this is kind of a long video. I've already started editing it. It's already like 18 minutes long and I'm not even done yet, so I'm gonna make this quick. A couple things that I have noticed about this: it will separate if you let it sit for too long, so I shake it before I pump it out every time, because there was like a thin amount of oil along the top, or what I'm assuming was oil, when I let it sit. I don't think I shaked it before I used it for the first time, so it's fine. It was just one use. I didn't seem to notice. I really like how this looks. Now, does it make your skin look flawless? Like you're 20 years younger. I am 22. I'm kidding. No. I still have some creasing. Not creasing, but you can see where I have lines. Like I have lines under and around my eyes, on my lids, I have pores. I have a little bit of bumps and texture on my cheeks. That little friend right there. So it's not like this gives you like a filter, like, oh, your skin is perfect. But I like the way that it very thinly applies. It is so thin of a layer on your skin. It's pretty high coverage for how thin it is. And I think it wears really well throughout the day. I don't feel like it starts like smearing. My face doesn't get itchy. Sometimes my face does get itchy. Usually it's when it's like thicker or there's an SPF in it. But my face has been like fine, and I don't find myself like tapping at little itches on my face throughout the day. And this isn't so much about the shade, like the color line in general, but I think that this shade Santa Fe is really good for me right now. I think my face matches the rest of my body somewhat. I mean, I know like my shoulders, my forehead are really dark, so you can kind of see, well, my forehead's dark and then I bronze, so whatever. So like obviously like there's different parts of my body that are different color, but I feel like it's a good undertone. However, I don't think I saw maybe more than one cool toned shade of this foundation. It was like warm, 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 neutral, warm, 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 neutral, warm, warm, warm. So, or like they were all very yellow. And I watched Hannah Louise Poston's review of this foundation, and that was her complaint, that everything in Nars is very yellow. I had never tried any other complexion products before, so I just wasn't familiar. And so because of that, I wasn't aware of that before I walked up to the counter. But yeah, if you are a neutral or a cool skin toned person, you might have trouble finding not just your foundation, your shade in this foundation, but in like any NARS product. As far as I know, I was looking at the Sheer Glow as well. And so that was just kind of what I noticed. Also, none of the shades were in the right spot at my Ulta. And so I was pumping, I'm like, that neutral one's even more yellow than this one that's marked yellow. And then I realized it's because they were like all in the wrong spot. Anyways, so, you know, check the bottom of the tester, not the place that you pulled it from, just to be sure. And the last thing was, this is $50 for 1 fluid ounce. I feel like they're charging that much because of these skincare claims that they're making. I think I'm gonna have to wear it for a long time, like multiple weeks, to see if I notice a difference. I don't know. I'm really happy with my skincare routine as of right now. So I think it would have to be like a miracle worker for me to go like, oh my God, my skin looks so much better, because I'm happy with my skin right now. But I think as long as it doesn't break me out, that's kind of all of the skin caring that I care for. So that's kind of up to the individual person whether or not that's like a pro for you. So yeah, that is kind of my full thoughts. I think it's beautiful. I don't know if I would necessarily repurchase it. This was kind of like a treat. And I also wanted to review it, and I think I'm going to keep the bottle forever though. Not forever, but like if I get another MAC Face and Body, it's getting decanted into this, because this is so much less messy than that MAC Face and Body packaging. And despite the fact that this is a super liquidy foundation, the lid actually, you're able to keep it somewhat clean, and you just have to kind of wipe it off with like a makeup eraser or something in order to get it to be completely clean. Yes, the matte black, I said I was worried about it getting fingerprints, and that's still kind of a worry, but I don't think it's going to be hard to wipe off. So that's just because I'm anal. So that is everything. Those are all of my thoughts. Please let me know what you think down below. It's been a while since I've reviewed something like this. The last like 2 reviews that I've done were both eyeshadow palettes. So let me know what you think. And other than that, I hope you are having an incredible, awesome day wherever you are, and that I get to see you in a future video. Thanks, guys.